All right, welcome everyone. If you're interested in stock trading, investing, really just understanding where stock markets are potentially heading, then welcome to the channel. So I'm going to go through stock trading. I'm going to go through these charts. We're going to use some technical analysis, find out what's going on, kind of cover where we're at. So we're looking at triple Qs. If you watched my video yesterday, I said I was short triple Qs because we broke that resistance level or that support. Here we go. I'll show you what we had. This is the level that we had right there at 293. It broke, did a back test. I got short, looking for it to gap fill. Gap fill was sitting right there at 285.79, and today we get the gap down. Hasn't quite gap filled. They've stepped in a little early both times, but they keep pushing it down. So the main thing now for today, I believe, to watch for is we've got this level right down here, the gap 285.72-ish, somewhere right in there. So a close below that, that's pretty bearish. I would expect a lot more selling to come if we get that close below there. If they run down and do a gap fill and then it finds some sort of support and bounces, then we're still, then this was the end of the move to the downside, and we're still set up for kind of a full back test of this green broken trend. So here's the broken trend right there. You can see the green trend line on the daily chart. We were walking up that. As I zoom in, we broke that trend right here, and it looks like we were coming in for a back test. If they, if we hold here and move higher, then we could still do that back test. Okay, so those are the two scenarios that I'm watching for, and I want to get short either way, whether it's way up here at this full back test up around 307, 308, depending on when we actually get there. I don't know when we'll actually get there, or if we break below this 285.70, I want to remain short. As of right now, what I did is I covered my short position because we're so close to that support. As we fell right down to it, I covered, and now I'm waiting for a break, a definitive break of this level to take another short position. Until then, we'll watch this. But it was a nice profitable trade. Really from the about a 2% trade in a day, so not bad. Other possible scenarios that I was watching for is island top reversal. Now, the Qs ran up and closed the gap right here, but when I opened this morning, we opened down here, and you had this island cluster top. Just to kind of point that out, basically, we had, let me grab this little tool, right there. See if I can get this. Right there, the arrow. There's your island cluster top. Now, usually what you want to see on these things is you want to see a gap up to start to create the island, and then a gap down, and that forms the full island. And that's a island reversal. It's an island cluster reversal topping pattern. Now, Qs ran up and actually closed the gap right here. You can see within this hour they ran up and filled the gap. So kind of negates the island cluster because it didn't leave that gap there. But if you go over to SPY, the gap's still intact right here. So on SPY, you can see on the hourly, we have a gap up and then a gap down. So this whole pattern right in here is your island top. Now, if they fill the gap, then it negates that as well. IWM also has it. You can see here. IWM doesn't really have it anymore. It's almost filled. So, at this point, because Q's negated it, I don't think the pattern's going to be there, but it had the potential. So we'll watch to see if anything else shows us what's going on. At the end of the day, the most important chart is the market, and that's the S&P 500. The Qs often tells you where the S&P 500 is going to go, but the market is the S&P 500. So there's your island cluster top intact as of now. So we'll watch to see if that can hold throughout the day. As of right now, XLF looks like it's holding support. I got support right here at this previous gap, and that's sitting about 24.66 on XLF. So we broke above it, came back down to it. They gapped it down below support today, but it instantly was recovered. So look, that's what you want to see for a for a bullish move. That held support. That looks bullish in the short term. And I think XLF probably is going to hold and maybe make a move a little higher. So we're watching for that. And Apple and all the other things I can tell, as far as I can tell, have held support. So here's Apple. Here's your support, 118.52. Kind of dipped below it a little bit, but the hourly close was above support. So Apple's above support. Microsoft, let me move this one over. Microsoft's above support around 215.55. Amazon's well above support. We also have a gap right here, so it looks like it's trying to find some support right there at the gap. Amazon's above the gap right there, above support. Google's well above support as well. So in general, it's hard to, the market's not going to break down unless those things break down. All right, let's look at some trade ideas, things that I pointed out individual. Here's Redfin. So this is how some of these short trades will work even in an up market. Here's Redfin down almost 4%, selling off impulsively. It broke down yesterday, and it was just not a very impulsive breakdown, and then today it's just, it's impulsive. So breaking down there, that's the hourly chart. Here's the daily, you can see. Now this to me sets this Redfin up in motion to head back down to this major support line down around $48, somewhere right around there. And from where we're at now, that's a drop of 10-11%. Negative divergence had been building. Here's your negative divergence right there. So this was building as price was moving higher. So, and because this is a negative divergence on the daily chart, what I'm actually looking for, I think we head down to support. We maybe chop around there for a little bit, and then we break that support. Of course, the day's not over, so this candle right here needs to really close, lower or, around here so that you get that impulsive breakdown. Here's DraftKings. I was pointing this one out that we had the initial bounce off support, came up, then we came down and broke it. And broke support and heading lower. So looks like DraftKings wants to head down to 43.75, and that's some previous support from back here. They might have stepped in early today, and that might be kind of the near-term low right here that it made today, intraday. So that's something to watch, but still haven't got that daily close or a real test of that support here. All right, I didn't cover Tesla yesterday, so I'll cover it today. I'm still short Tesla. I know it's not a huge position for me, and you do have to realize that Tesla is a wild stock. So it can run against you even if you have the technicals right. It can run against you for a while and impulsively. However, that's the thing. Tesla hasn't really been going against me impulsively. It's just been grinding higher. Every day, kind of the slow grind. That's not typical behavior for Tesla to do that kind of slow grind. So I still like it short. I'm still short. It's still below what I have marked as this trend line. Here's a daily uptrend line. I like this trend line. There's a couple ways you could maybe redraw it to capture this as support, but I like it because we've got a tag here, a reaction there, reaction here. Each reaction that I have was an impulsive move higher. And then we start to, break down up in here. We've broken support, and you can see right there we ran up and almost tagged that as resistance, and we've started to roll over. So down today, and looks like this was kind of your back test, and I think we're gonna keep going lower. So I like it. Negative divergence here on the daily. Everything tells me that Tesla should break down and go lower. And we've got some big gaps to fill that have been left open for a while, so I'm looking for those gaps to fill. 221.73, I think, is kind of the short term. I think we head down towards there and fill that gap. Philip Morris here still looks good. Looks like they did a little whipsaw this morning, trying to shake people out of this, what I see as a bull flag, and it's confirming more today that it is a bull flag. Anytime you have a flag, don't expect them to just make it easy. They try to whip you out of the flag, and that's what today looked like. They opened it lower, but then it instantly recovered and it's moving higher. So I think that probably is the momentum that this needs to break to the upside out of this flag. Again, we're looking for, the short-term target is probably up around this 82.63. You can see we had some, that was support back here, and then it was resistance right here. So I think we run up and tag that, get a reaction up there. That's the short-term target I have, and then my longer-term target is probably this 90, about $90. Here's Zoom, another divergent high today. It just continues to make these divergent highs. So it has negative divergence, completely intact, big negative divergences. Tells me that the trend is going to change, and we need to see a breakdown of price supports. As of right now, there's no breakdown, so there's no trigger or no reason to, it's all about timing, and we have no breakdown. So I've got the breakdown sitting at 462.61. I want to see that go. If that breaks, that should be, and it could, chop around, and maybe it'll break right when it comes down to here. But 462-ish, right in that area, a nice impulsive breakdown from there should set this thing in motion for pretty substantial downside move. So I'm just waiting for that one. All right, here's SOXX. We now have confirmed negative divergence. You can see here, I was looking for it, and we now have it confirmed. So here, the RSI is turning down. The PPO is not quite turning down yet. It's almost there. The RSI has already started to turn down. So you've got negative momentum, and you have a new higher price. So a divergent high was right up in here. Also on this one, we broke some short-term price support right here. Started to fill some gaps. We filled one gap this morning, and that's it. So I think that this is probably just a kickback kind of reaction, and then I think we continue to roll over and fill some of these other gaps, possibly down to this 316, 316.50, we'll call it. That would fill this other gap. And that would, maybe that's all the move maybe that's all there is in this one. But daily negative divergence tells me that probably going to be some more downside. Although this negative divergence could extend. We could see another rip higher, another move higher, extend the negative divergence, kind of build, and then we'll look for some sort of impulsive breakdown. So because the other markets look like they're probably not going to break down, FANGs are at support. This probably isn't either, and that might be the scenario. This might want to extend the negative divergence, make a new high, and extend. And so we'll watch for those. All right, PHM, big negative divergence here on the daily chart. It's been extended. It's getting to the point where it should start to break down. I was expecting it to start to break down this week, and we're starting to see some signs. It gapped down this morning. They're buying it up right now, so maybe they want to buy it back up to this resistance line. It might want to, contend with this resistance line for a little bit before actually breaking down. But starting to see some signs where we're getting price action at lower levels, starting to break down. Yeah, the buyers are still there, but the sellers are showing up as well. So we'll see if there's any kind of follow-through on the sell side. Still looks good though on the short. Still looks good for a short. It's just it takes time. Same with Etsy. Still looks good. We've broken price support now, so you can see on the hourly chart. This is your up channel that we had. We've clearly broken that now. So if they want to do some kickback rallies to resistance, then that's fine. But it's been broken, the up channel. So I'd expect any kind of rallies to be sold into. And I think we continue lower to break down. On the daily chart, we also have this uptrend line right here. This, you can see reaction, reaction, reaction cluster. There was another one, and there's another one. And then we broke down and ran up and did a back test, another reaction, and we're below resistance, so we failed. So I think that this little reaction where we had the gap down and a little kickback, buyers dip buying, I think will be temporary and will start to roll lower. So this looks really good. And SQ looks pretty good as well. Look at this negative divergence on the daily chart. Big negative divergence. You can see we've just been making higher highs in price, and yet momentum has been fading the entire time, really since this was your peak in momentum back here, and then all these highs have been kind of marginal highs, and momentum has continued to fade. So then you look for break of price support. Here's your nice clean uptrend line in SQ. We broke. That broke. This is a back test. We're kind of running up. Then we created this secondary trend line right here, and it looks like we've broken that. Really started to break it yesterday. Here's your hourly. This is that secondary price support, and we just started to break, gapping down, having a little bit of a kickback rally. So obviously they could run it all the way up to this 191, 192, somewhere right in there. That's an objective area, I think, to take a position short. So I like that one. And that is all I have for the video today, guys. Everything in this channel is just my opinion. Nothing is trading advice. Obviously, trading's risky, so manage your risk. Have stops. All the deal. But everything in here is just my advice. So, my opinion, not my advice. Just my opinion. Thank you. Catch you guys on the next one.